Business to Business Marketing, Mark 485, page 8, chapter 3. Stage, definition, result, recognized problem, supply inventory was low, department specified what supplies they would need in the next month, selection, order placed with usual supplier. Stage is selection and the result is order placed with usual supplier. Next stage was deliver solution and the result is order delivered by supplies dealer. Order checked by driver and office manager. Stage is the end game. The result is supplies used next month. Next month's order set up. And all of this is the exhibit 3.5 summary of the straight rebuy example. Exhibit 3.6 new task example, acquiring automated sales and customer management system. Consider a value-added reseller VAR of computer systems. It comes to the realization that it wants to improve its own sales and pre-sale service operations. It finds that it is losing some customers to competitors because the competitors provide better pre-sale service. To complicate this problem, the competitors seem to have controlled their costs to the point that they can offer superior service while charging lower prices. Competitors are finding customers, qualifying them, and getting in the door before the VAR even knows that an opportunity exists. At this point, the VAR has not determined what sort of solution to seek. The next step for the value-added reseller involves undertaking an analysis of its current sales and customer service processes. With the help of a consultant, the value-added reseller and the consultant arrive at the conclusion that several processes would be improved with the installation of an automated sales and customer management system. As part of his solution development services, the consultant has brought in a business development person from a reputable supplier of software for automated sales and customer management. A discussion with the business development person from the software supplier launches the value-added reseller into a new task buying process to acquire such a system. They begin this process by writing general specifications for the kind of system they are looking for. The consultant and the missionary person from the software supplier help them write this specification. The consultant suggests several other companies that would also be good alternatives as suppliers. These companies are contacted and asked to make proposals based on the specifications that have been written. All potential suppliers ask the questions they feel are necessary for them to fully assess the value-added reseller's situation. 3 of the potential suppliers prepare detailed proposals and make presentations to the value-added resellers executives and several other managers within the organization. The executives in the value-added resellers information technology IT manager confer to select a supplier. In their discussions, they discover that new selection criteria have arisen from some of the supplier presentations. have arisen or arisen, I guess it's arisen, have arisen from some of the supplier presentations. They revise their criteria and determine that they need more information from a couple of suppliers. After additional discussion with the suppliers, they finally select one supplier. It happens to be the first supplier who helped them write the specifications and request for proposal. After negotiating the work and the terms, a deal is signed by executives for both the supplier and the value-added reseller. The technical team for the supplier begins talking at length with the future users of the system and begins designing the system. Early versions of the system are tested with the users and demonstrated for the value-added resellers executives, VARs, executives. Modifications are made, some renegotiations of features and price results. First modules of the new system are installed, and the first batch of users is trained. They begin using the system with mixed results. The supplier fixes some bugs and provides some additional training. Meanwhile, the users are becoming more proficient. Some of the problems take care of themselves. Over the next 6 months, the value-added reseller's IT manager and the sales vice president begin to discuss how well the system is working. A sales assistant collects some evaluative information on system performance. The vice president and the IT manager, information technology manager, generally conclude that they like the system, that they would have done a few things differently, and that they need more modules. Meanwhile, the system supplier's sales team has been helping the VAR evaluate the system. They suggest some improvements and introduce the vice president and the IT manager to new modules that have been developed in the time during which the system was installed. It is some of these new modules that the vice president and the information technology manager suggest to the value-added resellers CEO, Chief Executive Officer, for improving the automated system. A summary of the process for the straight rebuy is shown in Exhibit 3.5. But let's continue with the Exhibit 3.6. Let us contrast the preceding process with the second example, shown in Exhibit 3.6. The example is of a VAR acquiring a new computer system, representative of how the process might flow in a new task buying situation. The buying center took more time and effort throughout the whole process than was taken for the straight rebuy. In fact, the buying center itself was larger and involved people higher in the organization than were involved in the straight rebuy. The individual stages and steps did not occur in stepwise fashion. While there was a general flow, the steps tended to recycle and repeat to a certain extent. For instance, the analysis of sales and service processes that occurred in the solution definition step probably further refined the definition of the organization's problem. When the selection team entered its initial deliberations on the selection of the supplier, they discovered new criteria to consider which sent them back to the solution definition step and took them through more information search on the suppliers. One feature of this process that stands out is the amount of time and effort that transpired between the time a contract is signed and the delivery of the final product, Exhibit 3.3. It might be argued that there is no final delivery as such. The end game stage overlaps and flows into the early process stage of the next buying process. Another feature stands out in the amount of uncertainty at each step. The recycling that occurs does so in part because so much uncertainty remains when the organization progresses from step to step. The organization uses much more information in the whole process to try to combat the uncertainty. The organization also makes use of a consultant in an attempt to help handle the complexity, newness, and uncertainty. As occurred in the straight rebuy process, the value-added reseller needs differ from step to step. The organization does not need an actual product until it is well into the solution delivery activities. In the problem definition step, the value-added reseller needs a good definition of the problem it is trying to solve. In the next step, it needs a good description of the parameters of a solution to its problem. It needs assistance in defining those parameters. It needs further help in designating prospective vendors. In the selection process itself, it needs good information not only of the vendor's capabilities, but also other characteristics such as their flexibility, their reliability, and the ease of working with them. The underlying need is the need for assurance that the vendor chosen will be able to deliver the value desired. In the step in which the solution is defined, the needs include a need for increasing detail on how the new system will work and how it will help the value-added reseller provide new value. This helps the value-added reseller start to redesign its processes to take advantage of the system and to begin to plan to adapt and adopt. The VAR also needs further reassurance that it will get the desired value boost. As the system gets closer to implementation, the value-added reseller needs the system to perform to specifications.